Now there we go.
All right. Oh,
All right, now we're
better.
good. And we're live, too. So, hi, folks. Stu Myrick, Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. It's been a couple weeks. And look who I got with me.
Hello.
Emily May from Sportskeeda, New Japan Pro Wrestling, about 40 other outlets.
I'm a very busy lady.
I want to get like you when I grow up, too. How you doing?
I am great.
Good.
Trying to handle this Texas heat.
Texas heat stinks.
Like everyone else.
It stinks on toast, as Tony Kornheiser would say back in the day.
I'm very excited to be in your studio, by the way.
I appreciate this.
I've been enjoying
the world headquarters is, it's humble, but hey, I got a little bit of decor.
I'm enjoying the New Japan memorabilia around me.
That was cool. That was a cool deal. And quick story before we start. So the picture on the bottom is me and Cowboy Johnny Mantel, who of course was at one time the president of the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame when he was in Wichita Falls. And so he came the day they were doing the press conferences and everything. And so Johnny and I are sitting together and everything. And he brought with him the suitcase that he got when he would do the tours of New Japan back in the 80s. So apparently if they did 3 tours, they get this big yellow suitcase. And it has the New Japan logo on and everything. Well, in the suitcase, he had David Von Erich's ring jacket.
Wow.
And his boots. And so we went around. We saw Kota Ibushi, saw Juice Robinson, and he showed them, those items. And of course, like Juice, eyes just bug out. So it was a really cool event. So really neat. So all right, let's make a little. I would say radio magic. Let's make a little podcast magic. So YouTube, Twitch, will be right back because I got to mute so I don't get in trouble with the copyright peoples. So right back. Back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Stu Myrick, and joining me in studio. Wow, I feel big time now. She is one of the best wrestling reporters out there. See her with Sportskeeda. You see her backstage with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think you've got about 40 different, taglines. It is Emily May. How you doing?
I am great. I'm recovering from SummerSlam.
I know. You went to Detroit.
Motor City.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I had half a mind to go up there, but I was thinking, plus still recovering from the whole radio station thing. So
yeah, it's been tough.
So I said, we'll just enjoy it from the comfort of the world headquarters here. So
yeah.
And that's good, segue. Let's get right into SummerSlam. Give me an overall grade, overall thoughts on the event as it happened there at Ford Field, the home of the Detroit Lions.
I mean, I loved being at Ford Field. It was a great venue for it. It had that open air feel. The fans really were into it. There was like the WWE Superstore. You could go buy the exclusive merchandise. And I feel like the build to SummerSlam was really, really good. And so the fans were invested in it. They got in there and they were ready to go. I think it was a great city to actually host it because I feel like Detroit's kind of being revitalized, and bringing it to Detroit was, I think, a good idea.
Well, yeah, and there's been a lot of stories about, Detroit, in fact, it was before the pandemic. They were on the down and outs. Everybody was leaving, and places being boarded up. And yes, in the last couple of years, you hear a lot about the revitalization of Detroit and everything.
What I also loved is I saw a lot of the WWE superstars go out and actually do things for the community with the WWE community program. They had the be a star rally. We were able to see, Cody Rhodes, Titus O'Neil, Big E. They were able to build meal packages for, I think, over 60,000 families in Detroit.
Yeah.
So what I love about big pay-per-views in these cities is that it's not just about the pay-per-view, it's about the communities that they're serving in those cities. And I love how they kind of bookend events so that they actually get back to the community.
Yeah, it's, there's been a lot of comparisons between, say, WrestleMania weekend or SummerSlam weekend and Super Bowl week. And there's a lot of similarities, and that's part of it. Just like with the NFL, when they go into Super Bowl city, they have all these different events, like you said, reaching out to the community. WWE has taken page out of that playbook, and they're doing it, and it's really cool to see. You're right. There's been some criticism about the length of the show because it went
long.
4.5 hours, which, here lately they've been trying to keep it around 3.5. This one, and I'll be honest, it did feel a little long.
Well, we were trying to time out those matches, us in the press pool and in the press box. We were, 4 matches in. It's getting to 10 o'clock. We were wondering what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we were kind of all discussing between us how long the show already was. And, I think it ebbed and flowed. Obviously, we'll talk about the matches that I think went over really well and ones that probably weren't quite right for this show.
Okay. Interesting. Let's just start with the main event. I was lucky enough. I went on Mark Hoke's show on KDON FM in Las Vegas, and maybe I'm jumping the book here, but with Jimmy Uso turning on Jay, this has got to be the 6th or 7th Roman Reigns match in a row that ends with shenanigans,
some type of turn or interference.
And since then I've stepped back a little bit from it, but it feels like maybe the Bloodline storyline has finally gotten almost to the point they've jumped the shark, so to speak. What did you think?
Well, I think the Bloodline storyline is hotter than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to take a note from Paul Heyman, because he said this during the press conference post SummerSlam, is that they're only in the 3rd inning.
It's funny. He said the same thing after WrestleMania.
So maybe now it's like the 4th inning?
Well,
did he forget?
But see, that to me almost presents a bigger problem. It's like, okay, if you're only in 3rd or 4th inning, how much longer is this going to go? Now, we've heard the reports, the scuttlebutt, the talk around the campfire about I think it was Fightful that asked, how long, when is Roman going to drop the belt? And they basically said whenever he effing wants to. Which, makes me think it's going, that kind of makes me think it's going to be a little hard to buy in whenever Roman's on the card, because it's kind of like, okay, well, he's going to win. He's going to find, it'll be somebody interfering.
Well, they're building to this, the fact that everyone, especially Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, is getting booked in this way. He's getting booked in a way that makes him unstoppable, and that's what they're building this. People are already talking WrestleMania 40 here,
right?
So that he would headline that.
Well, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people were thinking, or are thinking, yeah, the moment's going to be he'll drop the belt to Cody at WrestleMania 40. But like I said, I'll be honest, that quote there, no, I'm not so sure.
Well, I think there's steps before that.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a few steps, just a few steps.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is obviously this Jimmy J issue. I think there's gonna be some type of, match there, but I think the full bloodline has to turn on Roman Reigns.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I talked about this earlier, that it's kind of this big cult.
Yeah.
And you have to remove everyone else in order to get to the source of power.
Okay.
And so they all need to align.
Okay.
And then make Roman Reigns weaker.
Yeah.
And then that's when Cody Rhodes can come in and take advantage of that vulnerability.
And I say this being fully aware of back in the 80s, Ric Flair, there was rarely a title match that he had where the Horsemen weren't involved. That was,
and this is one of those situations.
Yeah, so there's definitely the similarities.
And the same thing with the Judgment Day.
You could say Solo Sikoa is the Arn Anderson to Roman's Ric Flair. So, I mean, I'm willing to wait and see. I know, with Jimmy turning on Jay, now they've got to explain that, because there's a little gap in logic there, because you just saw Roman and Solo beating up Jimmy after they decided to leave the bloodline. So now Jimmy is going back to the bloodline. It's almost like, they beat him in submission, I guess. I don't know.
But it has to be like Solo Sikoa, Jimmy, Jay. Like, they all have to find some way to align.
Yeah.
And then take Roman Reigns down.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure they'll address it on Friday night on SmackDown.
I'm sure they
will. But we'll see. So, let's see. Cody Rhodes does beat Brock Lesnar in the rubber match. At least according to Triple H, a very unplanned show of respect from Brock to Cody. And I did watch a little bit of Cody's appearance at the press conference after SummerSlam, and it felt like it's weird to say, but it almost felt like there was like a sense of relief to him, that he's, now he's past Brock. Now it's, continuing on that journey that, like we said, could end up with, facing Roman in Philadelphia.
This match and this win, I think, for Cody felt like this was the stepping stone he needed, because he wasn't really getting any, like, week after week, he wasn't really getting those wins and kind of that elevated presence he needs in order to face someone like Roman Reigns. Yeah. And this win, he needed to have that moment of mutual respect, of good sportsmanship, of camaraderie, and Brock Lesnar gave him that moment of mutual respect. They had that emotional moment. You could see the close-up of Cody's face, that this meant a lot to him, and this meant that he was moving in the right direction. And, Cody Rhodes talked post-press conference that he's not sure what his next chapter is. Him and Brock Lesnar might not even be done either, you know? I know they were talking about this trilogy of matches ending, but there could be more to it. So I think right now Cody's in a really good place. I think he is at the advantage to really take any of these champions down at this point.
Yeah, I think so. And, look, Cody's a friend, and I love him to death. I love the Rhodes, him and Dustin both. And I know Dustin is just, so immensely proud of him. So,
yeah, Cody did get a little emotional in the press conference. I did kind of throw him a question that
I saw that you did, and he did get emotional. And it makes sense, because I'm lucky enough I get to work with Dustin on a regular basis, and I know how much it means to him. So, yeah, I can see that easily.
I mean, I think it means a lot to all of us to watch Cody's journey. I think that's why, I don't know if you heard, but the American Nightmare documentary is breaking records on Peacock.
Yep.
And they haven't released all the official numbers, but from what Cody says, it's breaking numbers more than they thought.
I believe it
would have ever happened.
It was a fantastic documentary.
Yeah, so it just shows how it's a story that's resonating with people, that's connecting with people on a level, I think, beyond wrestling.
Yeah,
it's a father-son family story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's very powerful.
It is. You're absolutely right, and it connects with people, and again, Cody's journey. I mean, I talked to Cody maybe a month or two after his initial release from WWE when he put out the list, and and to go from then to today, the journey that he has had. I mean, he defended the Ring of Honor World title here in Austin at Wrestle Circus. Because I was there, and then I got to babysit the belt for a little bit, which was cool. And it's my favorite belt too. I like that one. So anyway, to see that journey, and it's resonating with the fans, and that's why he is probably the top babyface right now, and I think he's going to be that. Going into hopefully, going up against Roman in Philly. Bianca Belair. They always said she had the longest women's title reign in modern history, and now I think she has the shortest at a minute. I think I saw a minute 38 when she wins the triple threat. She's on a bum knee, and then here comes Io Sky and Bayley and cash in, and boom.
I have to say the crowd went wild for this match. The three-way was already on fire. We had Charlotte, who put in incredible work, and obviously people were rooting for Bianca, and we saw that injury happen where she was sidelined for a bit, but she clawed her way back, and obviously had that win. But we also saw
Io Sky,
saw that cash in, which again, a lot of people were speculating that would happen at SummerSlam, but it couldn't have happened to a better person. And
it reminded me of when Dolph Ziggler cashed in the Raw after WrestleMania all those years ago to win the World Heavyweight Championship. It was a great moment.
And we had the reunion of Damage Control. Yeah. So Dakota Kai, Bayley were there, and the energy, just everyone was so supportive. I felt that the whole arena kind of embraced them in that moment. Yeah. And that was a moment to watch.
It'll be interesting to see how they go forward, because there's no doubt Io Sky is as popular as can be,
and funny. Can we talk about how funny she is?
Yeah.
People don't realize how funny she is.
Well, and that's the thing, because technically Damage Control is supposed to be a heel faction, but it's hard not to cheer for Io.
They're also likable.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even Bayley gets on my nerves sometimes. That damn laugh. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes forward. And then LA Knight, who, look, I have been a fan of his going all the way back to him as Eli Drake in Impact. He wins the Battle Royal. It was one of those times where, you had the crowd favorite. They almost never let the crowd favorite win. So for him to actually get the win was a little bit of a surprise. You hope that vaults him to some sort of push, or maybe maybe he goes after whether it's the Intercontinental title, the U.S. title, something. But you hope you see more from him, in the weeks to come. So.
I'm giving you prizes
wow, you got Slim
Jims. These are official SummerSlam Slim Jims.
Oh, wow. I am impressed.
From the Battle Royal.
Beautiful.
I'm giving those to you.
That's awesome.
Those were officially everywhere.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Snickers that were all over the WrestleMania press conference desk. Kevin Owens kept eating Snickers while Sammy was talking.
Well, I was happy for LA Knight. I think, he had to make up for kind of what happened at Royal Rumble and kind of some of the other things that have been happening the last few months. So I was excited. I think he was the kind of the fan favorite to win. And you are right, where sometimes you don't always, it's wrestling. You don't always get what you want, right? Many times. Many times,
yeah. So that was a little bit surprised. The promo with him and Miz Monday Night on Raw, it was really good, because it's, it kind of almost chronicled what LA Knight, Eli Drake, whatever you want to call him, had to do to get to where he is now. And if it, as crazy as it sounds, it felt a little like what The Miz had to do. You know, you go all the way back when he was on the Real World with Kevin Dunn, and now look at him, hard to believe, 20 years.
Really?
I mean, good God, I remember when he debuted, which means I'm getting old, but that's a whole nother story. What else caught your attention from SummerSlam? They didn't have any other titles change hands.
I think the Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
I think that was a really great match to watch. I mean, I think a lot of people wanted Finn Balor to obviously kind of shake things up a little bit.
I think it was almost expected, which was why it was such a surprise. Mm-hmm. They decided to keep the title on Seth.
Yeah, because I feel like of all the times to change the title, it would have been here.
Yeah.
And Finn Balor, I feel like needed something, because if you think about the Judgment Day, we have Damian Priest, we have Rhea Ripley, we have Dominic. They all have something. Mm-hmm. And Finn Balor's not quite there yet. Which
is, it's kind of interesting because Finn Balor easily the most experienced of the four. And he is no stranger to gold. Not only in WWE, New Japan, wherever.
He's had lots of gold.
But yeah, he's the only one without a trinket. And now they're going back to this, the tension between him and Damian Priest.
I mean, I think we see what's happening there.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And look, I'm a huge Damian Priest fan. I was a huge fan of him as Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor, and that is carried on to today. I think he's fantastic. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch, because I got a feeling. And you wonder, because Monday night you saw, JD McDonough, and there's been a lot of rumor innuendo about him joining Judgment Day.
Yeah.
You wonder if it could be kind of a trade out, Finn's out, JD in, or something like that.
Well, I talked to Finn Balor about that. I asked him if he was going to, him and Damian were going to add anyone else to the Judgment Day, and he wouldn't really say. But I know there's rumors, there's speculation. And I'm curious because, we have the Bloodline that might have some infighting. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Judgment Day. If there's some people will turn on each other. Yeah. Because we've seen some friction before, and they've made up, and Dom is a wild card. I think Dom is a wild card that will do anything, and Rhea Ripley.
You're absolutely right. So, let's see, a couple of notes from Raw. Shinsuke Nakamura, at the end of the main event, he was teaming up with Cody and Seth to defeat the Judgment Day. And then Nakamura hits the Kinshasa on Seth. So we're turning Nakamura heel again. Now, I remember his first heel turn, which wasn't that long ago. And I think it wasn't as successful as they had wanted it. And I don't know if this one's going to be any better. I mean, again, it's a wait and see thing, and I get it, but I don't know. I'm not buying it.
Well, and I wonder why they wanted to do it right now.
Maybe because they feel like they got to have more challengers for Seth.
For Seth, yeah. I mean, Seth coming off of this win at SummerSlam, I get they needed a big moment to kind of push him in a direction, but yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with it.
Yeah, I'm not either. So we'll see. One fantastic moment. The New Day. Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods returning to Raw. Kofi's been nursing the injury, but he's back. They're both back. They got the win on the Viking Raiders. That was such a fun moment. I mean, but hey, I love the New Day.
I mean, who doesn't love the New Day?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And the women's tag team titles, I am fully convinced those things are
tag
cursed.
Titles.
Because everybody either gets hurt or walks out, or so now Sonya Deville's out with a torn ACL.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
So she's going to be out for, could be a year. Which
I think like 6 to 8 months minimum.
Which it breaks your heart because they just won those titles less than a month ago. Yeah. It was so funny because it was apparently there was something that said they were going to address the titles Monday Night on Raw. They really didn't. So I guess we will wait and see what happens with the women's tag team titles.
Yeah, they have to find. I don't know if they need to like rebrand them, rename them, like have some light some sage or something to get the curse.
I don't know, man. Those things go
to get the curse lifted from those titles.
You would think. I mean, my God, the bad luck that follows those belts, it's crazy. So we'll see. I mean, again, Chelsea Green's still carrying both belts for now. And that's and I feel bad for her too because finally gets gold in WWE and now looks like it's probably going to be taken away. Just and I like Chelsea. She I've had her on the show many times and she's fantastic. And in fact, the last time I talked to her, she was house hunting. Oh. Apparently, she and Matt Cardona were looking for a new house. In fact, I asked her about the collectibles room, because Matt's got all those. I'm sure they have a lot. Oh, I'm sure they do. So, switching gears, AEW. So we are less than 3 weeks away from All In at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, we're 20 days, right? 20 days.
And they have finally started to build towards the event. Now look, it's going to be a success. We know it.
78,000 people or something?
Yeah, it's probably going to hit 80, 85 before we get to the event. It's going to be on pay-per-view. Pay-per-view is going to hit, record numbers. They've made their money. We get it. But, it was like, okay, we're getting closer. What's the match? When's the match? So finally we get matches. We'll start with MJF and Adam Cole, which the whole time Wednesday night on Dynamite, I'm waiting. I mean, it's like, and I think everybody was. They're waiting for that turn. They're waiting for MJF, and it didn't happen. I mean, it was almost like you got the real Max Friedman. And look, have you ever interacted with him outside the ring?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I have.
You've interacted with him.
Yes.
I have. Look, in this, well, it won't blow his gimmick, at least right now. But, away from the ring, away from being MJF, Max is a great guy. I mean, he would see me backstage and he'd come up and give me a big old hug.
I mean, we're kind of blowing the thing out of the water here.
But
he was very cordial to me when we met at Forbidden Door.
Okay.
He was very cordial. I talked to him for a bit. I think our interview was probably the nicest interview he's ever done.
Yeah.
So he was pretty cordial with me. We talked about our bar and bat mitzvahs. So we bonded.
Oh, all right. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, so MJF, before he joined AEW, wrestled in Austin for Inspire. Mm-hmm. Had matches with Ricky Starks and Sammy and ACH. And MJF, whenever he'd come out to the entrance, come by commentary, rip the headset off my head, start calling me names and stuff. He was so funny. And then afterwards, we were just, it was the funniest thing. So I'm still waiting. I get the feeling there's going to be something that happens. I can't buy into a full-on babyface MJF. I just can't do it. And I hear the people talking about, well, maybe Adam Cole's the one to turn heel. I don't know. I don't think that has as big an effect.
I don't think so. I think we're going to, in the next, few weeks before All In, we're going to see a new side of MJF. something's going to happen. Something's going to make him mad.
Yeah.
Something's going to irritate him.
The devil will come out.
And it will come out.
Yeah. So
I think we just have to wait and see.
FTR challenging the Young Bucks. I think it'd be their third match. The AEW World Tag Team Champions. They want to wrestle the Young Bucks at All In. I think that's the tag match everybody's looking forward to. Do
you think it feels too repetitive, or do you feel like we've seen some of these things already?
FTR Young Bucks, no, because if I'm not mistaken, we've only seen them twice.
Yeah. And
the last time we saw that match, if I'm not mistaken, it was still under the pandemic era. So it was in an empty Daly's place. So I don't think now if they run it again, say at All Out or even at Full Gear, then it might be we'll see. But I think this is
the match that
it's kind of the
fans
and I think
have wanted.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So and then Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor World Television Champion, calling out CM Punk. That's been the rivalry for years and years and years, going all the way back to when our good friend Kerry Silkin was still the owner. And what do you think of Punk with this quote real world title?
Oh my goodness! I mean, if he won this, or if he,
so he was carrying around the red bag.
Yeah.
And a week or two ago on Collision, pulls out the AEW World Title belt that he won, that he never lost. It was stripped from him.
It was stripped from him, yeah.
And so he takes it, paints an X on it, and calls it the real world title. And in fact, Ricky Starks challenged him for it. Ricky came close, but CM Punk was able to defeat him. Now, I suspect this will be there. He's going to have this, and this will be this will lead toward him and MJF meeting, assuming MJF keeps the title. I assume that will lead to him and MJF for the title at Full Gear, or maybe even go past that to Revolution in March next year. And I get that, and I understand that. Still, it feels a little too brand splitty. Is that a good way to put it?
Brand splitty. That's a very official term.
Yeah. I mean, because you got Punk on Collision, you got MJF, which and he's been on Collision, but he's primarily on Dynamite. Just feels a little. I don't know.
But I feel like AEW doesn't have really these brand splits.
They don't. This isn't like what WWE was intending to do. That thing, of course, went out the window. But it wasn't like what they intended to do. And sadly, it was simply just to keep CM Punk on one show and the Bucks and the Elite on another show. And we get that. I don't know. It just felt a little weird, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it'll grow on me.
I mean, I think Punk is trying to, he obviously returned recently. So,
yeah.
He's trying to figure out, he wants some gold. He wants to make a name for himself again.
Yeah.
So, it's like he has to reprove himself.
By the way, have you watched NXT any? So I'm a huge fan of Eddie Thorpe, Carl Fredericks back in the New Japan days. And I love the whole, where he's embracing his Native American heritage and everything. But I just I don't know why, but I'm just enraptured by what he is doing.
NXT's been doing some amazing things.
They really have.
Yeah. Really great
I was at the Bash.
Vignettes, really great things.
Yeah. It's been really good. So, except for the whole Gable Steveson thing. Good God, that was bad. I mean, and it wasn't. They had something in mind that wasn't it. It really wasn't. So, back to AEW. Hikaru Shida, now a 2-time Women's World Champion.
Was a big surprise, I think, for many.
I think it was too.
I think for when it happened, it was very surprising that it happened on a show like this. It wasn't like a big pay-per-view. It wasn't.
Yeah, I mean it's the 200th Dynamite. I get that.
Yeah,
a lot of vibe.
That's a
going
big
in
deal.
that.
Congratulations.
But yeah, it just to have the title change when they decided that was going to be the main event. I was thinking, could they?
Yeah.
And then sure enough,
Sure enough, they did. I mean, when you make that a main event match, it obviously means something's going to happen. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very happy for her. I think this is going to be great for All In. I'm not sure what the All In matches will be for the women's division, but it has to be something good.
By the way, we were talking about SummerSlam being long. We know Tony is he loves him some long pay-per-views. Can you imagine? He's going to put 20 matches on that card.
No. 20 matches?
No. I got a feeling.
No. What? SummerSlam was
He does.
8?
He'll do between the pre-show and the main card, he'll do 15 or 16.
Oof. No. You can't.
I know. I agree.
Don't do it.
I agree. Makes me think of those Wrestle Circus cards back in the day.
They're going to walk out.
No kidding. And then Jack Perry with the FTW title, and Jerry Lynn does the face-off, says, look, there's no doctor in the world that could clear me, and I can totally understand why. And then they bring out Rob Van Dam.
Wow.
I was like, okay, this could be interesting. I mean, I think that title match happens tomorrow night on Dynamite. It'll be interesting to see what kind of shape RVD's in, because he's put his body through the ringer.
Yeah.
In his wars in WWE and ECW and Impact and all over. But so, and then so great seeing Jim Ross back on commentary on Collision. I joke with folks that I love Jim Ross to death. I got to interview him once. He's fantastic. I mean, I remember when he was a referee for Mid-South. That's how long it's been. But as long as I live, when he comes out, that entrance, I will boo it. I will boo that stinking song, because it is
interesting seeing it in person, because they do a whole entrance for him to go to the commentary table.
Yes, it is 8:13 p.m. Central, and OU still sucks. So, yeah. It will. The entrance will be booed. I love Jim Ross, but the entrance will be booed.
You have to let him know you're booing the entrance.
I'm
not
booing the song.
Not
booing
him.
that stinking song. So, we're gonna take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll let you know what's happening in independent wrestling around the state of Texas. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Beautiful. All right. Now, we'll do this last segment. This is where I want you to do the Mission Pro, and then yeah. Good job, by the way. You're a natural. Like I said, I want to grow up and be you.
I'm not that cool though.
Huh?
I'm not that cool.
Well, look at me. I'm a middle-aged wrestling nerd that just happens to like sports too. So, which, by the way, this Thursday. Well, yeah, I guess Thursday, preseason week 1 for the NFL.
Already.
I know. Saw the Hall of Fame game.
I'm not ready.
Saw the Hall of Fame inductions, which that was my very first on-site reporting gig, the 2010 Pro Football Hall of Fame induction.
Wow.
That was Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice going in that class, which was a hell of
That's
a
class.
And I got to talk to John Randall, who was also going into that class. One of the fiercest defensive backs ever to play in the NFL, played for the Vikings all those years. Trash talk like nobody's business. And the funny thing was, he gets up to do a speech, and he never looks up from his sheet. I felt bad for him, but it was at the same time. And I came from a 3A high school in Texas, Glaywater, up in Northeast Texas. He came from Hearn, which is another 3A high school in Texas. So we had that little commonality with us. So,
were you intimidated? That being your first gig, were you intimidated?
yeah. Oh God, yeah. Absolutely.
Shaking.
Because there I am. I'm interviewing John Randall, who's again one of the baddest men in the NFL. And then there's Emmitt Smith, and then there's Jerry Rice, Dick LeBeau, longtime defensive coach with the Steelers for a long time. It was just I was intimidated, but I think I was so in awe of everything, it didn't enter my mind. It was one of those things where heads on a swivel. There are legends walking. I mean, and we got there was the induction ceremony, and then we went backstage. We walked through security, and I wasn't used to this. I'm with Steve Foster, who apparently he had done this a couple times too, and we walked through, and the security lets us in like we belong there. And all of a sudden, I'm standing there talking to Marcus Allen, and there's Joe Montana.
Wow.
By the way, Roger Staubach walked up. I was like, yeah.
You're like, be cool, be cool, be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something else. So, yeah, it was great to see those speeches. I love the speech. Love listening to speeches. So, all right, let's do this last one. Back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Stu Myrick, Emily May from Sportskeeda. You were jamming out to Effie's
I was
rejoin
jamming out. I need Effie to do an intro like that for me.
Oh, Effie's fantastic.
I love it.
He's the best.
Loving the little music choices.
I hope we get him back in Inspire pretty soon. So, speaking of independent wrestling, got to tell you a little bit. We got a couple cards to tell you about happening this weekend in Texas independent wrestling. The East Texas Wrestling Alliance brings you the Black Bart Benefit Show Saturday at the Gilmer Civic Center in Gilmer. Bell time 7 p.m. Central. JBL will be there. Rugged Rod Price, Sam Houston, Nigel Rabbit, and more. That's East Texas Wrestling Alliance this Saturday night in Gilmer. Metroplex Wrestling presents Thunder Saturday at the MPX Event Center in Bedford. Bell time 8 p.m. Central. Tatum Manning, Aaron Eagle, Tommy Prince, Kari J. Wright, and more. That's Metroplex Wrestling this Saturday night in Bedford. And that's a look at independent wrestling around the area. Wherever you may be, go out and support independent wrestling. One real quick note, the Black Bart Benefit Show, I'll be there. I'm actually going to visit my brother who lives, so Gilmer is in East Texas, Northeast Texas, about 2 hours east of Dallas. There's another town right next to it, Gladewater, and I am a proud Gladewater Bear, class of 86. My brother lives there, so I'm going to visit him, and he and I are going to go see East Texas Wrestling Alliance. So if you're in that area, come by that show. If you see me, please say hi. Love to see you. So another card that's happening on Saturday. So on top of Sportskeeda, New Japan Pro Wrestling, I guess we can call you part of NXT now that you've been on NXT television. You're also involved with Mission Pro Wrestling, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, we have an exciting show coming up this Saturday in San Antonio at the Salvation Army Mission Corps called Boiling Point is our show, and we are definitely boiling here in Texas.
Oh, boy, are we ever.
And we have some exciting matches. We have Izzy Moreno is making her official in-ring debut.
Now, for those that don't know, can't put two and two together. Izzy Moreno was Izzy from back in the black and gold NXT days that used to hug Bailey every time.
Yes. She started as a super fan of Bailey and has grown and trained, and she has been putting in the work. She's been training for wrestling training. She's been doing CrossFit. She was just on Busted Open this morning talking about this upcoming match, and she's facing Jasmine Allure. And Jasmine Allure is a former Mission Pro Wrestling champion, and she's on WOW as well, and various wrestling
Jasmine trained here in Austin.
organizations.
Well, one of the places she trained.
In
She trained
Austin,
at AEW.
And-
Izzy's at Hybrid with Chris Marvel,
Izzy,
right?
Yeah, Izzy is at Hybrid. And so there's definitely, if you all didn't watch the show it was True Colors in June, and it's on Title Match Network if you all want to go back and watch it before this weekend. But Izzy makes these friendship bracelets and offered Jasmine Allure after Jasmine's loss for the, Jasmine lost for the championship, and now, Izzy was trying to, console her, obviously, and Jasmine did not take to that.
Really?
And Jasmine attacked her, Izzy was on commentary and couldn't finish the show. So this is, the stipulation that Izzy will come and defend against Jasmine.
Okay. That should be a good match.
Yeah.
I know, let's see, Genocide's going to defend the Mission Pro Wrestling title against Tiffany Nieves.
Yeah,
Nieves?
Tiffany Nieves.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be a good match.
And Tiffany's our number one contender. She won against Emmy Camacho at the True Colors show in June. And, Tiffany has been, kind of a mainstay in recent months at Mission Pro. And she's been putting in a lot of work. And so I think Genocide has a big battle in front of her.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then you got Bougie Reality. That's Maddie Rinkowski and Rache
Chanel
defending the tag titles against MJ Santana and Mia Friday. We got to see Mia Friday. Inspired did Style Wars. It was it was a collaboration with 7 other promotions: New Texas, the FWL Pro, Baracho Pro, a few others. And I think Mia Friday was on that card, and she was quite impressive. So
Mia Friday is this ball of energy, and she every time she enters and runs around the ring, she has this like fun fringe, and she comes out and the whole crowd is behind her. And she teamed up with MJ Santana, and their tag team is Friday Fever Dream, and so they form this alliance. They obviously have wrestled against each other, they've trained together, they're friends, so they have this history. They've created this alliance, and now they are ready to face Bougie Reality for the tag team titles. They wanted to make that statement as a new tag team, which I think is very bold. It's very bold to go in and say, hey, we're a new tag team and we want to go for the gold right away.
That is big. But hey, if you think it's your time, you got to strike while the iron's hot. So
yeah, exactly.
Mission Pro Wrestling Boiling Point Saturday at the Salvation Army Mission Corps in San Antonio. Bell time 6 p.m. Central. Always Mission Pro puts on such a great show every time. I got to go several months ago when Simon Miller from What Culture was there. He and I were hanging out. Simon's a good friend, so they always do a fantastic job. Thunder Rosa, runs that one. She and her husband Brian, just a fantastic duo there. So we had, meanwhile, this past Sunday, Inspire After Death, Rule in Hell. And boy, it felt a little like hell down at the Empire Control Room garage just because it was hot. And of course, we're downtown Austin, so it was really hot. My God, it was such an incredible show. We opened the show with T. Ray Watford and Brick Savage, which they beat each other senseless. T. Ray actually had to go to the hospital.
Oh wow.
And it ended up as a no contest.
Is he okay?
I think he's okay. I haven't heard from Biz or anybody, but I think I heard he's okay. A must-see match: Francesco Akira from United Empire, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the Bounty Hunter Brian Keith. That match was, it is a must-see. The other one, Gary J and Yuya Uemura, another one that was just next level. One that two young up and comers, Shimbashi and Danny Orion from Culture Shock. The match they put on shows why Inspire loves to highlight Texas talent. Those two just put on a Matt Classic. It was really, really good. Will Alday and Matt Cross, Matt Cross is an absolute legend on the indie scene. Wrestled in, I think, 28 different countries. Has wrestled for
That's wild.
Has been on TV for every company not named WWE. Now, I'm pretty sure he's done a WWE match, probably somewhere. But Will Alday and Matt Cross had a fantastic match. The whole card really was just phenomenal. If you want to watch the replay, get it on Independent Wrestling TV, IWTV. Our next event, September 10th, Licensed to Death Wish 4, which it's been a while.
That sounds scary.
Well, Licensed Death Wish 3 was back in 2019, so we've had to wait a little bit. But Licensed Death Wish 4 coming up on Sunday, September 10th. We will be back at the Empire Control Room and Garage there on East 7th Street in downtown Austin. So get your tickets now. Search Inspire After Death on all the socials. You'll see the link. You don't want to miss it. I'm telling you, these shows have been fantastic. With this one, with Beyond Ecstasy of Gold last month in July with the 10th anniversary show, it has been some fantastic wrestling that you get to see up close and personal. So
that's great. Yeah, and if you all want to get tickets to Boiling Point,
yes,
you can go to missionprowrestling.com, or if you're not able to join us in San Antonio, you can watch it on Title Match Network.
Okay. Some great streaming services. Title Match, IWTV, Premiere, of course, Fight TV does a fantastic job. Boy, there is before we close up, let me ask you, because you get to see it all. Would you say that right now, 2023, and I asked Colby Carino about this earlier. Would you say that independent wrestling is as hot as it ever has been? Especially considering coming out, in the pandemic, companies couldn't run, and quite a few went under, but it just feels like right now they are on a hot streak.
As someone that's been, I've seen the California independent wrestling scene, I've seen the Texas scene, I've gone, I've seen, other states and how people are bringing shows to just different cities in the United States. And there is this huge uptick in independent wrestling companies that are either rebranding, restarting up again. It obviously has taken a few years and it took a big hit. Obviously, we saw so many get shut down. But I think people are relooking at what they want to do, what they like, what they care about. And it kind of changed how people are doing independent wrestling. And I think it is hotter than ever right now.
I tell you what, it's
literally, it's really hot in Texas.
Yes. Yes. I just looked at my phone. I think it finally got below 100.
Oof.
And again, it's around, it's right at 8:30 p.m. Central here. So, yeah, it's been hot. It's going to be hot. But, man, indie wrestling is just, you got to go see it. And I've said it 100 times. It's kind of like minor league baseball. Go watch them, because you're going to see these folks on a TV screen sooner rather than later.
That's what I was going to say is what I love about Mission Pro Wrestling is we bring in talent from all over Texas, from all over the United States, sometimes internationally. And you might see them for a year on Mission Pro, and then they get called up. They go to NXT or they go to AEW. And that's what's so great is we're kind of this feeder system for all of this amazing female talent. And that's what's so great about what we're fostering there is we teach them how to do everything from promoting themselves to, how to do a backstage promo, how to do an interview, and if people want to do production too, we teach them how to do that as well.
Yeah.
If they want to, be a camera operator or direct or any of that, that's all important to know, because then you have a better holistic vision and you appreciate production. When you go and you're doing a TV setting, you understand, I got to stand there, I got to hit my mark. Timing. It's all about timing, right?
It really is. I tell you what, I've been lucky enough. Dustin brought me backstage for AEW, and to watch that process, it is so impressive.
Yeah, and I try to help foster this like TV style wrestling so that when you go to AEW, I know there's not AEW Dark anymore, but if you did Ring of Honor or you did kind of a more elevated, promotion, then you're ready to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk in and feel confident that you'll be okay to do it. You'll hit your times. You'll know how to kind of work through things. You'll be professional. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Emily, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I know we've been wanting to do this for a while.
I know, and I got to bring you back. But tell everybody how they can find you, where they can find you, everything you're doing. Just tell everybody about you.
Well, I'm a host and producer, and you can find me on all social platforms at Emily May Heller. And again, I have Mission Pro Wrestling coming up this Saturday, August 12th. You can watch it on Title Match Network, missionprowrestling.com, get those tickets. And then the week after, we have the junior all junior festival in Philadelphia. And so, and then we also have the New Japan Impact show on the 20th of August. So
right.
That's a few weeks. Multiverse United 2.
Yes.
So we have that coming up in the next few weeks. And then September, I'll probably be at AEW, so you'll see me around there. And then I'll probably have some more things coming in September. I can't remember all right now.
You stay busy.
Follow my socials, and you'll see all my announcements. And I have a special episode of Emily Made It coming out probably tomorrow or Thursday. So watch out for socials on that announcement.
Ooh, all right.
Make something special.
All right. Emily May, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Make sure you follow the show on Twitter and Twitch at SGTWATX. Find the show on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You can find me on all the socials at Stu Myrick. Make sure you subscribe to us, rate, review us on your favorite podcast provider. For Emily, I'm Stu. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
There we go. And that's the way to do it. Emily, thanks for this. Thanks for joining me on the stream.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. We're going to try to do another stream maybe next week, maybe week after. Maybe I get Eddie Cross or somebody, but just stay tuned to the socials. But for now, for Emily,